Welcome on in, you rascals. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing well. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be great. Appreciate you stopping by the channel. Tobin and Leroy show up live today as well as we dive into a lot of different things all over the South Florida sports landscape. So subscribe to that on the 560 WQAM YouTube page, and appreciate you guys stopping by. So a couple of things to get to here on the Heat landscape, as the landscape is getting set for the offseason. We're almost into the thick of these things. We got a series coming on up. Is anybody I think there's a potential this could be a good series, right? It feels to me like, I don't think I'm brave. I think in my heart of hearts that the Thunder are going to steamroll gentleman sweep style. But if the Pacers win, it would be a long-ass series. There'd be some weird games in there. They'd probably have to steal it in 7. It'd have to go like that. It feels like. I don't see a scenario where the Pacers could dish rag OKC. I could see the other way around. But is anybody just secretly just hoping one way or another for a sweep just so we can get on the action? And I don't mean to, I'm not doing a ratings thing here I've heard that bullshit before, Pacers fans and Thunder fans. Enjoy your damn finals. This is a selfish, sad Heat fan right now who's ready for the offseason. I just want to get to the offseason. So this could just be if we could just make this as quick as possible. One of the two of you decide to win this lopsided, that would do old Tobes a favor. Just for me. It has nothing to do with market size, not interested. I think there's a lot of captivating things about these teams. Don't get me wrong. But I am a selfish pig, and I want to get to this action. Now, a couple of updates on things that we have been focused, like my boy Bobrovsky would say. Joe Dumars running things for the Pelicans on the basketball side. He, today, an interview got released from the New Orleans Times-Picayune, and it reiterated a lot of the things that have been there as far as their unwillingness, because some of the Zion stuff obviously bubbled this week with, the lawsuit that came out. And then on top of that, you also had the, there were some reports about, no, his value's nothing, contracts, that'll get it done. Joe Dumars, because I've just, just from a basketball perspective, I was intrigued by the Zion thing. But he said, I've had really good conversations with Zion. We've had lunch, dinner, watched playoff games together. We've done it all. I've had some real honest conversations with him, some real direct and honest conversations. We're going to go forward with Zion. He's going to continue to be the focal point here going forward. I sent him to the lottery for a reason. I want him to start focusing on the responsibilities of being the best player here and the focal point. There are responsibilities that come with it. Go represent your organization. And when you hear that, I am only going to take the man at his word that they're going forward with Zion. Now, it feels like, and to be fair for the Pelicans, it feels like it's going to go a few ways. It could be a disaster. I guess they could get out of the contract. It could be tremendous, and maybe you feel like you'll get him at a time when his value is actually at a place that you'll get a return that's worthy. Or maybe in the best of things is, hey, we believed in you. We stuck through you with different GM regimes, and and he wants to stay in New Orleans, and that's and that he could be the talented player that he is. So, just throwing cold water on it, seems like the Zion thing is dead in the water before the summer gets going, because everybody's saying, Windors is an explosive summer ahead. This is going to be everybody's saying this is the craziest summer it's ever going to be. Shams, most craziest summer. Windhorst, explosive, wild summer all over the place, low post. They're all saying it's going to be the craziest summer. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking, I'm like, I guess that has to be, it can't just be Giannis getting flipped though, right? Like, we all kind of going into this thing, and as crazy it would be for Giannis to get moved, it's not in this unfathomable type of place, because we all kind of expect that he's going to get flipped, and probably for a haul. Durant's going to go, but we all kind of know that. So I am interested to see, okay, well, what's the crazy thing that's going to happen that everybody's referring to. The other thing that came out on Kevin Durant, we talked a little bit about the KD thing yesterday in regards to would you just do it if Khalil was the piece you had to give up. But Shams had a report today on KD. There was a couple of reports that came out. One was from Gambo in Phoenix, who had said that I guess there's mutual interest or intrigue from Durant's side on going to San Antonio, which that's an interesting sweet spot. Everybody seems to be interested in going to teaming up with Wemby and whatnot. Ton of assets, going to be tough to beat. But he also says that the market for Durant is going to be anywhere from 4 to 6 teams, but they're going to be working with Durant's management. And the one thing I guess is going to be interesting is, like, look, we know that the Heat touched base and did due diligence on the Durant thing, even if it didn't go great. Phoenix today hired the other Michigan State guy, Ott, or is it Oat or Ott? I don't know. Don't really give a rat's ass, to be honest with you. But they guys basically got all their cronies for the owner. I will say, like, look, the Heat got to draw their line in the sand on what they want to give up and don't want to give up. I feel like if you can make this deal for Durant and it takes a couple of picks, 3 seems like a lot for him. But if you could do it for 2 picks and, you know, the young pieces that aren't where, all right, I think you can tolerate that. If it's giving up where, I don't think that comes with any other picks just because you know that's the position they're dying to get. But it's going to be interesting to see, like, what does this market look like? Because if it's 4 to 6 teams, which is Shams reporting, we could probably point out the teams pretty easily. And Knicks, Timberwolves, Rockets, San Antonio, throw Miami in there. Am I missing one that's, like, not coming off the top of my noodle? I mean, I feel like that's the gamut of it. Like, those are going to be the teams. I'm looking around, like, Philly, maybe. Would Philly get in the mix? Would what would they want there from Philadelphia? But I feel like that's the look right there. I know there's been some Boston fodder from time to time. It kind of just feels like a reset year for him because of the Tatum injury, I guess. And I guess maybe that goes into the things. But I think I gave you the 6 teams, at least 5 of the 6 teams that are going to be in those talks. I guess the question remains is, like, all right, well, who's got the best player out of all those that is going to get given up, that they're really willing to give up for Kevin Durant? And then will anybody just come over the top, and then does Durant want to go there? So it's an interesting concoction of where things are going to be. But yeah, if there's no Zion and if the Heat do get beat out for KD, we already know the Giannis thing is we don't even know if they're going to trade him, so it could be a pipe dream. So are the Heat. Pat Riley said they're not going to run it back, but, like, where is the next place that they go to? Is it Larry Markkinen? All right, well, the Jazz GM, Danny Ainge's son, is it Austin Ainge? He came out and he said they're not tanking this year. Like, flat out. Tanking blew up in their face this year. You may not have known it because they beat the Heat by 36 this year, but tanking blew up in the face of the Utah Jazz this year. So it's just like, this is why I need the finals to be over. I need to get, because it feels like action's going to happen right away. You know, we're going to get some decisions on things. We're going to get some things out here. And it just feels like we need to get to that line of demarcation and just start figuring some things out. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, all right, well, where are the other moves that are crazy? You know, like, that would really, like, have everybody like, whoa. Because I've already made my thoughts on DeMar DeRozan known. Do one of the Clipper stars want out? Is there, like, a LeBron wanting out? Luka not signing his extension will obviously set off alarm bells. You know, but Ant feels too young that he's going to do that. They just took over ownership there. I think people wouldn't be that shocked if does Trae Young stick with Atlanta? Does he not? So, and then I guess Ja is like the last one. There's a little bit of that smoke that's been there. We haven't touched on that one in a while, but Zion and KD feel like the most obvious ones outside of the Giannis domino falling. And then how long is that going to take, right? Like, Chris Haynes, where is my Giannis meeting, dude? This guy promised us a Giannis meeting like 3 weeks ago, and still no word, no buzz, no fodder on the entire thing regarding Giannis Antetokounmpo and his breakup meeting. I hate that, dude. I want to get to a point where we can actually get some action there. But that competition with KD is going to be an interesting thing, right? Because, like, look, if it is true that 4 to 6 teams want him, yeah, it could be a tough sled for the Heat. But how much do the Heat really feel like they're in the, because we don't really have any window to that, right? Like the Houston thing, we know there's been a lot of talks with Houston. We are to believe Gambo. He's got interest in going to San Antonio. I don't know where the Knicks thing stands for him because, there was already that, kind of uneasiness. He feels like he's taken shots at the Knicks before, but they'd obviously welcome him, I think, because of just Cat's energy being so, or Cat's approval rating being so low right now in New York. But then you got to ask for the Suns. Like, all right, are you doing that for Cat? And like, that's your team. You're locked into that, And I think that's the thing. I think if you're the Suns, the one thing that the Heat do offer you for Kevin Durant is like, hey, if they can get you out of the money problem pretty quickly, and then supposedly get you some decent talent. But it's a little weird. Like, you're going into this flying blind a little bit with an owner who's a little bit unhinged with his now cronies in the front office, his Michigan State cronies. What are the Heat flying into there? The one thing I will say for the Heat standpoint, you don't want this strung along. This can't be another Damian Lillard summer, and it certainly can't be don't come back to everybody and be like, oh, we had ourselves another Joe Cronin situation. God, dude, let me tell you, no fan's going to want to hear that. So let's just get it out here right now. All right. We know that this owner's a little bit quirky, and especially if Kevin Durant did want to come to the Heat, like, all right, you need to find a way to get this done. I'm not saying give away the farm for Kevin Durant. This is not a Dame situation where I would have given up anything for him at that time, basically, to get him, and the Heat just got a little too aggressive and ended up with nothing. I do think there's a world where Kevin Durant could really, really help the Miami Heat this year, because I do feel like there's a world where they could make that a move and then make even some other moves that tighten them up a little bit and make a fun run of this season and see where the chips lie in this East. But, man, no one's going to want to hear like, oh, we got in the game for Kevin Durant and the owner was too crazy and unhinged and we didn't want – you already used your Joe Cronin card. You used your unhinged GM card already, Miami Heat. So I'm just saying, like, tread lightly with these rumors and everything that goes on there, because if this ends up with a long chase summer, and it feels like the Durant thing's going to have a pretty quick resolution, hopefully. But I don't know if I mean the fan base is already on edge as it is. I don't know what the reaction's going to be like if it's empty-handed, and then you're here to talk about, the negotiations, the guy was too tough. Like, all right, we get it. Every time there's an unhinged guy in all these negotiations, no one's going to want to hear that. No one's going to want to hear that. So, in reality, like, a lot of the times it feels like these owners, the newer owners, make the dumb moves. Like, I feel like the Heat, this should be like, hey, how can we smartly fleece these dudes of their star who they inadvertently pissed off last year? That needs to be how the Heat are moving in this thing if they're actually in the game. If they're not in the game, recognize the test of the poker room already, and I guess move on to whatever the hell plan B is going to be. But I'm so ready for this to go, which is why I would like this finals to end very, very fast.